Many middle and high school students can identify basic information in a passage, but struggle when they are asked to evaluate an argument, compare sources, interpret visuals, recognize bias, or decide whether evidence is actually strong. Blueprint 4 is designed to help students move from simply understanding informational text to thinking critically about it. Before we take a closer look at Blueprint 4, please take a moment to like and subscribe to this video. I share practical reading strategies, intervention ideas, and classroom-ready resources designed specifically for teachers working with students in grades 6 through 12. Blueprint 4 of the Secondary Reading Blueprint is called Thinking Critically with Informational Text. This blueprint focuses on informational reading, critical thinking, argument analysis, visual literacy, media literacy, author's perspective, language, and tone. The complete mega bundle includes 4 units that help students analyze information more carefully, compare sources, evaluate claims and evidence, and draw conclusions based on what they read and see. So, step 1, evaluate arguments and evidence. The first unit focuses on argument and evidence analysis. Students learn how to identify an author's claim and distinguish that claim from supporting reasons and evidence. They then move into evaluating whether evidence is relevant, sufficient, and strong enough to support the argument. Students also learn how to recognize valid and faulty reasoning, identify assumptions, notice missing evidence, and determine how an argument could be strengthened. The unit also introduces logical fallacies and helps students recognize common reasoning errors that can make an argument sound convincing without actually being well supported. Students apply these ideas to real-world informational text in practice, distinguishing facts from misleading or unsupported information. The goal is to help students become more thoughtful readers who do not automatically accept every claim they encounter. And step 2, analyze, compare, summarize, and synthesize text. The second unit focuses on close reading and text analysis. Students begin by analyzing longer informational passages. They examine cause and effect relationships, sentence relationships, logical flow, and how an author develops ideas across the text. Students then move into comparing multiple texts. They analyze different viewpoints, compare information across sources, identify similarities and differences, and support their thinking with text evidence. The final lesson focuses on summarizing and synthesizing information. Students determine the most important ideas, restate information accurately, and combine information from multiple parts of a text across text. This helps students move beyond answering isolated comprehension questions and begin working with ideas across longer and more complex reading tasks. Step 3, interpret charts, graphs, and infographics. The third unit focuses on reading charts, graphs, and infographics. Students begin by learning a repeatable process for interpreting charts and graphs. Rather than spending a great deal of time naming different graph types, students focus on extracting meaning from the information. They use a simple routine: scan, read, compare, conclude. Students scan the title, labels, keys, sources, units, and scale. They read important values. They compare data points and identify patterns or trends. Then they draw conclusions supported by the data. Students also learn how to avoid making claims that data does not actually support. The second lesson moves into infographics and visual arguments. The students learn to ask 2 important questions. What does this infographic say, and what is the infographic trying to make me think? They identify the main message or claim, determine purpose and audience, analyze statistics and visual elements, and evaluate whether the evidence actually supports the message. They also look for missing information, misleading visuals, and design choices that may influence how the reader interprets the information. Students use another repeatable routine: message, evidence, design, and judgment. The goal is to help students recognize that visuals are not always neutral and that design can influence meaning. The final lesson focuses on interpreting text and visual information. Students work with informational passages paired with charts, graphs, tables, diagrams, infographics, or other visuals. They determine what information comes from the text, what comes from the visual, what information appears in both, and what one source adds that the other does not. Students also learn to recognize discrepancies between text and visual information and draw conclusions using evidence from both sources. This lesson helps prepare students for the kinds of integrated reading tasks they encounter across secondary classes and assessments. Step 4, analyze perspective, language, and tone. The final unit focuses on author's perspective, language, and tone. Students begin by analyzing bias in author perspective. They examine how an author's viewpoint can influence the way information is selected, described, and presented. Students then work with figurative and connotative language. They learn how word meanings extend beyond dictionary definitions and how authors use language to create associations, emphasis, and emotional impact. The final lesson focuses on tone, word choice, and professional communication. Students analyze how specific words create tone and how language changes depending on audience purpose and context. This helps students connect reading analysis with real world communication skills they will use in college, school, and the workplace. So, what will you receive? Throughout Blueprint 4, teachers receive complete classroom ready instructional materials. These include edible teaching slides, detailed teaching guides, student reference handouts, teacher modeling passage, guided practice, collaborative practice, independent application, graphic organizers, charts and graphs, original infographics, paired text and visual activities, exit tickets, answer keys, and student engagement ideas. The lessons are designed for approximately 60 minutes or less and can be taught in sequence or selected individually based on a student need. Blueprint 4 can be used for whole group instruction, small group reading intervention, special ed, MTSS and RTI support, tutoring, summer school, test preparation, or targeted critical reading instruction. By working through this blueprint, teachers can help students identify and evaluate claims and evidence, recognize weak reasoning and missing information, compare viewpoints across multiple texts, summarize and synthesize important ideas, interpret charts, graphs, tables, and infographics. Evaluate visual arguments, integrate text and visual information, recognize bias in author's perspective, analyze figurative and connotative language, and determine how word choice creates tone. Blueprint 4, Thinking Critically with Informational Text, helps students move beyond basic comprehension and begin evaluating the information they encounter more carefully. These are the skills students need not only in ELA, but in science, social studies, testing situations, media, college, the workplace, and everyday life. You can find the complete Blueprint 4 Mega Bundle through the link in the description below. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel and visit helpyoulearn.org for more secondary reading intervention resources for grades 6 through 12. And I will see you in the next video.